So I think I'll finish the story. I know I told you guys in the last video that I had dated a girl that almost made me lose my life. Let's see if this thing is still recording. Anyways, here's what happened. A couple years later, me and my first love, my Sandy, and I were dating, and I was 16 by about this time. And all my white friends were sitting on my front porch at my house, my parents' house. About 5 of us sitting at my parents' house. Remember I told you Sandy lived across the street, right? And mind you, all my friends were white. If you don't remember from the last video, I grew up in a white neighborhood, all white friends. I was always athletic and everything and stuff like that, and you know, anyways, we're all hanging out on my front porch. Sandy had moved in across the street. And some white dude who seemed way older than us goes up to her door, walks down the street, goes up to her door, asking for her. And my friends come to me, well, they turn to me. We were all sitting on the front porch, and they say, "Hey, Jerome, he's looking for Sandy. He's trying to act Sandy out or something." And they said, "What are you gonna do? Are you gonna let him just sit there and do that?" So my stupid ass goes and walks across the street. Sandy answers the door and looking through her screen door, looking at this older man, wondering why the fuck is he at her door. But I walk up to him, I say, "Sandy, close the door." And she did. And my stupid ass told him, "If you want her, you gotta go through me." And he said, "Okay." And then he just walked away. Just walked away. And my friends, I walked back across the street, sat back on my porch with my friends and everything, and I forgot about it. This is Smitty, by the way. Hi, Smitty kittens. Hi, Smitty. Anyways, yeah. So there was a park up the street that we all used to play basketball. It was literally just up the block. We had a common park that everybody played at and stuff. And me and my friends, we dominated that basketball court for the most part. Later on that night, because this is back in the 80s, you know, our parents used to let us hang out late at night. We didn't have to be scared of people flying down the streets at 100 miles an hour and stuff, and driving reckless through the neighborhoods and things like that. For the most part, the neighborhood was pretty safe. So the parents, we all used to hang out. Even at 16, I could hang out to midnight. My parents didn't give a crap because we had been raised right. Anyways, so as usual, my parents went out that night. I'm the oldest brother, and I could hang out with my friends up at the park. My parents didn't have to worry about nothing. So me and two of my friends, male friends, we go up to the park and start playing basketball at night and stuff. And then, guess who shows up there? That older dude that I had never seen before, who I had told earlier that if you want her, you gotta go through me. Now, mind you, I'm only 16, but I was no pushover. I had been in fights. I had never lost a fight in my life. But I wasn't so much of a fighter as I was just a hard ass. But I wasn't small either, and I had been in fights before. And I'm a lefty. You don't expect it. Most people don't expect it coming from the left. But anyways. That son of a bitch was up there with another friend of mine who probably was his cousin. It wasn't a friend. He was just a guy that was an asshole in the neighborhood that I had, that was my age and had grown up in there. He was like 1 year older than me. And he brought that dude because he knew that we hung out up there. And I didn't know that he knew that guy. But anyways, I'm not going to say names. I know it's going to sound a little bit confusing, but the main part of the thing is we're sitting there on the benches and everything, and I think that my white friends wanted to see me fight. And it hadn't occurred to me yet that I had been set up. And this guy, at the end of the story, turns out to be about 22 years old. I'm 16. So he starts just, being belligerent and stuff because he wanted to fight. So he's being belligerent to my friends and stuff. And then he finally gets up into my face. I knew it was probably coming. But he gets up in my face. And me being 16, we're, not pushing shit and stuff like that. He pushed me once. And I said, hey man, don't push me again. And then he blindsided me. It was dark. We were out at like 11 p.m. at night at that park. And he blindsided me. He sucker punched me. And I got a flash in my head. And my head flashed. almost went down. I went down to the left, but I caught myself with I went down to the right, and I caught myself with my right hand. And I was so mad that somebody had punched me. Like, bruh. You see, I grew up in a black family, of course. And our parents, my dad whooped my ass. When I did something wrong, I got whooped. Extension cords, switches, where you had to go pick your own switch, and then you gotta do the walk of shame back inside with that switch that you tried to pick so it wouldn't hurt so much. Nah, bruh, I have been through. I've been beaten before already by my dad. But I tell you this, when that dude hit me, I got so angry because the only person that does that to me, the only person I ever allow to put their hands on me is my dad. And I usually deserved it. Most of the time I deserved it, probably, yeah. So he put that flash in my head. I came back up with such force. I almost knocked him out too. I came from the ground with a haymaker and I connected. And that was with my right hand. Then I tackled him onto the park bench. And I punched him a few more times, and then I got behind the bench and held his neck over the back of that bench in a headlock. And I started to squeeze. I was so angry. I just started to squeeze so much that I could feel his neck separating. And it was at that time that I told my friend who was standing there, my best friend, I said, hey, there's no one here to I had the frame of mind to tell my buddy who was sitting there watching, there's no one here to stop this. If it goes too far, you have to stop this. I started squeezing that guy's neck so hard that I could feel his vertebrae separating in his spine. And so I let up a little bit. Because I wasn't trying to kill nobody. I was only 16, man. But I knew it wasn't a high school fight. I knew that there wasn't anybody there to stop this. And the guy started reaching back behind his head and digging at my eyes. Something I just never had thought of at the time. And he got out of my headlock because I didn't want to hurt him. I really wasn't trying to kill the guy. I could have. Oh, I could have. But because I let him go, he got around to eventually getting me. I kicked his ass, but he got around to eventually getting me in a headlock and he wouldn't let me go. And I started getting dizzy. He got me down on my hands and knees and he was on my back. And I started getting dizzy. And then I started telling my friend, hey, I'm getting dizzy. You got to get him off me, man. You're going to have to get him off me. I said, hey, I'm getting dizzy. So my friend started warning him, hey, you got to let FSB go. You got to let FSB go. But the guy wouldn't. And then I started feeling thuds because my friend started hitting him. He gave him chances. He said, yeah, he'll give you 1, 2, 3. He wouldn't let me go. So, and I was on the verge of passing out, man. The guy was going to choke me to death, bro. But my white friend hit him 3 or 4 times, and then he finally let me go. So then, I get up. And this guy's dancing around the basketball court like he wants a box. I had to catch my breath for a second, but I was so out of it that when I first got up, I said, hey, wait. I said, hey, wait. No, you can have that girl. I was so out of it. I said, you can have her. And then it only took like a moment. And I was like, whoa, what the hell am I saying? I actually said, what the hell am I saying? I said it out loud. What the hell am I saying? No, you can't have her. So then that's when he started dancing around like he wanted to box me, man. And Kevin was trying to stand him, but, well, I didn't mean to say his name, but yeah, Kevin stood in between us. He had a sprained ankle with a cast on. Yeah, at that time, yes, he had a sprained ankle with a cast on. He's standing between us. This guy's trying to dance around him and hit me again. And I whisper to Kevin, I say, Kevin, I'm back to normal now, bro. And now that I know how fucking serious this is, I'll fucking take this guy. Because I could. And I would have. I don't like bullies. But if I had done it, it would have been a fight probably to the death. And no telling what would have happened if I would have won, or what I would have had to have done to put that guy down. So Kevin said no, Jerome. He just stood between us. This guy's swinging at me and shit and hitting Kevin sometimes and stuff, trying to get at me. And Kevin said that I'm going to have to run. I'm going to have to run through the park, go down the street and get his older brothers. Because he had 2 older brothers that were about that guy's age. And it was a tough thing to do. You know, we had to time it. Kevin timed it to where the guy was dancing around, acting like he was all the shit and everything. And when he was far enough away, Kevin said, okay, Jerome, run now. It hurt to run, but I knew that Kevin had a sprained ankle and I had to run. I had never ran from a fight before in my life. Not ever. But yeah, I booked it. When the opportunity came and Kevin said run, I ran. And I ran as fast as I could. Ran down the street to his house. Knocked on the door. His little sisters opened it up, and I was panicked and everything because I was out of breath and stuff, and I started just telling his brothers and his dad and everything what had happened. So his dad sends his brothers up there, and they eventually bring Kevin back. But that guy followed him, as well as the asshole who set me up. That asshole came all the way down to Kevin's house. I'm sitting inside, surrounded by his little 8 and 9-year-old sisters and Kevin's mom. And his brothers are outside, but that fucking dude came down. This fucking dude was not giving up, bruh. I could hear his dad go outside and start fucking telling that guy, hey, get the fuck out of here. I was so ashamed of running. I was sitting in the kitchen, and when that guy, I could hear that guy saying, "Hey, have him come back out here. Have that black N-word come back out here." So I started to stand up, and Kevin's mom grabbed me, and his sisters all. It chokes me up a little bit, because that family from Colorado, his sisters and his mom, they tackled me. They wouldn't let me go. They wouldn't let me go back out there. They surrounded me. And his brothers protected me. And these were the children and the brothers that, in my earlier video, if you had listened to it, were saying that it was funny to say the N-word and stuff, but they protected me. They used to say that that's just how they talked where they came from. How do you reconcile that? What is it with this hypocrisy? Anyways, I had hit that guy so hard, my right hand was fractured. I didn't tell my dad about it, but my hand was fractured, and it hurt for like 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. But my parents never knew what happened, because Kevin's parents kept everything a secret. But in today's time, that guy was way too big for me. But I still whooped his ass. I just wasn't willing to go as far as an adult would. He was just too big for me. Too old. I wasn't willing to go that far. The next morning, I was so ashamed because I had ran. And that next day, I had avoided Sandi. I avoided her because I was ashamed. I had ran from a fight that was actually about her. That white guy did not like that I was with her, and that evidently one of my friends from high school had set me up. But it wasn't just him. And this is the thing. This is part of the story also, and you take from it what you will. But my friends knew that guy was going to be up there. And they set me up. They thought they wanted to see me fighting. And, bruh, that was wrong. I almost lost my fucking life. It's not fucking funny. And yeah, she was the hottest girl in the neighborhood, and probably the whole goddamn city. But it's nobody else's fucking business. Mind your own business in life. Pay attention to your own things. You can't tell nobody else what the fucking do and what choices they can make, who they can date and who they can't date. Fuck that. You can't tell me what my favorite fucking color is. And you can't tell anybody else what their fucking favorite color is. Or their favorite car. Or their favorite whatever. Mind your own fucking business. Anyways, yeah. My friend Kevin, he went and, he was such a good friend. He was an awesome friend. He passed away early in life. But I gotta tell you, he had the wherewithal to go to Sandi, who I suspect he liked also. But he was such a good friend, he went to her and told her the truth that I actually beat that guy. But he was just too big for me and stuff. And when I eventually talked to Sandi again, she was angry at me. It was an odd feeling because I hadn't really had that kind of a fight before over a girl. Not over a girl. Not over my ego. I had never had anybody challenge my ego before. But it was just a learning experience that Sandi turned out to be pretty pissed off at me that I was in a fight over her and that I was fighting because of her. She did not like that. She was pretty pissed off at me. She was mad. She was mad at me. But sometimes chicks don't understand. That guy hit me first, bruh. And I was being set up by my white friends to get in that fight. I didn't know what was coming. So you just gotta be, these are challenging times right now in the nation. And I tell you these stories so that maybe you can relate and apply them to whatever might be going on in your life, if my story is relevant to your situation. And I know it must be to some of you. Sometimes the people you think are your friends aren't your friends. Be careful. About what your friends are doing. If you're doing good, people tend to resent it. Even your friends, your neighbors, and others. Be very careful right now because a lot of people are struggling. People will get mad at you if they see you're doing better. And I guess that will be the moral of this vid from FSB, Frontside Buster. Like and subscribe. I hope to do some future videos that are a little bit more uplifting, more positive. But yeah. Sometimes you gotta run from a fight. this fight that we're having in this nation, we're not running from this. I'm not running. I know many of you out there, millions of you out there aren't going to run. So, if a fight's coming, let's get to it. This is Frontside Buster. Peace out.